We're back on our front porch. What are we fixing?
We're fixing a Thanksgiving fall favorite sweet potato pie.
So stick around.
I think they're done, hon.
Well,
welcome back to another weekend getaway on
our front porch. But this is a couple of days before Thanksgiving when we're shooting this, and we're gonna. Iris is here, as you can tell, snoopervising. We're gonna do a classic Thanksgiving recipe.
Yeah, we don't normally do this for Thanksgiving, but because my mom always makes pumpkin pie, so we wanted to do something a little bit different. We haven't made any. I don't know if I've ever made one, have we? I think you might have made one a long time ago.
I think I did a long time ago, but mine's a little different recipe.
So we found a different recipe. We're going to try it out, and this is sweet potato pie. And I know we've done in the past. I've tasted some sweet potato pies, and if you have never tried one, you ought to keep your open mind even if you don't like sweet potatoes, because
you know, most people put pecans and marshmallows on their sweet potatoes. We don't.
Yeah.
We got two ways that we love to fix it.
Well, if we're just doing them for a meal, we just do butter and salt and pepper. But
right.
For
or we'll fry sweet potatoes with white potatoes, a little bit of minced onion. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy, for that.
But for the dessert, if we're going to do sweet potato, we want to do it in a pie. And if you didn't know the difference, we could pass it off as a homemade pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times, it seems like the sweet potato has a lot better flavor, more rich, and a little bit sweeter than a lot of your average pumpkins. So you get a better flavor, I think, and easier. We did this very simple by just baking the sweet potato, and then when it cooled, we just peeled it off, which is a lot easier to peel. The recipe that we're running off of actually says to chunk it up
and boil
it, which means you gotta peel it all ahead of time. But this is easier.
Yeah. So we're gonna regroup and get back together.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, as you can see here, close up for Angel, I have just kind of chopped them up with a knife after I peeled these sweet potatoes. And now, your main goal, of course, to start with, is to mash them up. And they say you can use the electric mixer, which would be great, but we're out on the front porch and we're just going to do a mash like a potato masher. So you're going to mash them up pretty good.
Now, one thing about sweet potatoes, as you can see, you don't need all that milk and butter like you do white taters, because they do mash up nicely.
You want to that's way, and with the baking, you don't have to worry about extra water. If you're doing a boiled potato, you want to be sure to drain them real good before you try to mash them up. Okay, next thing is a quarter of a cup or half a stick of melted butter. Okay, and 2 large eggs. Get my sleeves up here out of the way. Cloudy, maybe trying to rain on us, so hopefully it won't rain us out here. 2 eggs. Okay, now I'm going to get these mixed up a little bit.
I guess we ought to tell them the outcome of my hunting.
Nothing yet, unfortunately.
No. And unfortunately, I have not been feeling good this weekend, so that's why Wade's doing it.
Yeah. Okay, now we're not done yet. We have to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of vanilla. Use a cap. It's usually about a teaspoon.
2 of them.
A little extra vanilla won't hurt anything. Okay. And we're going to mix this up a little bit more. You can't over mash this. It won't hurt anything. Make it creamier and... Okay, now need to do, this is a little bit different. Thought we need to add a little bit of something different. Fresh orange zest. Okay. Now, we're also going to add a teaspoon, and we're going to do a little bit extra. We always do a little extra cinnamon. A little heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. And then it calls for a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now, you don't usually want to overdo the nutmeg because it's pretty potent. So we'll do exactly what it said. Only a teaspoon.
Well, and there's some recipes that call for 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper too.
Yeah. Well, then you could do it. You wouldn't notice it's in there. That's got a little lump, and I don't want to get a chunk of nutmeg in my one bite. That's kind of nasty. That would ruin the whole piece of pie if you did that. Okay, and the other, only one more ingredient, and that is sweetened condensed milk. That's the only sugar in it. But there's probably plenty of sugar.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to use a spatula here to get all this goodie out because it's pretty thick. Now there's a lot of other recipes that work good. You can use that have a lot of them have evaporated milk. And then I think this is pretty much the same, isn't it, Angel, as a lot of recipes that you get for pumpkin pie too.
Well, I don't know. I've always used evaporated milk in my pumpkin pie.
Yeah. But I think a lot of them can do. I think there's recipes for.
One thing about it is that sweetened condensed milk is rich milk.
Yeah. And extra sweet, so that's why we aren't going to add any more sugar. Then we mix this in. Now, I noticed that's a little bit different than some. It's a little bit thicker, isn't it, Angel?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you quit using a potato masher and start mixing it with the spatula?
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's kind of like fingernails on a chalkboard here. Sounds like our neighbor's college son is home.
All right, what do you think?
Actually, that looks pretty mixed up. Yep.
Yep, I think so. Now, gotta get charcoal going. While it's heating up,
we bought a frozen pie crust, so.
Yeah, we cheated on the pie crust.
Well, I'm sorry, that ain't cheating. That's just good business.
You know, a lot of people may frown on it, but I tell you, we have discovered that a good bought-in pie crust is better than a failed attempt at homemade. So you go figure, you know.
Which, unfortunately, that I bake pie crust that's tougher than shoe leather. And we have little Iris here, supervising. Actually, she's after something, and it's right up here. This is how Wade starts our briquettes, usually.
Yep.
We've got friends that have pine trees. We get their pine cones. Iris likes chewing on pine cones.
Okay, now
you're going to do something different that you don't
charcoal
normally
is
do.
almost ready. So yes, we're going to do a bit different. Since we're actually baking with it, not actually baking, well, we're baking in it, not with it. I don't know which way you start it, because we're using, of course, like we showed you earlier, we're using this wire rack. That'll get us our pie shell up on top. So we're going to go ahead and it says preheat, so we're going to put the lid on. I don't know why I took it off, but I did. I guess out of habit. And put a charcoal top and bottom.
That's enough, Iris.
Now we're baking, even though it's a pie, still baking, right?
Now,
so we're going to do the same ratio.
Look at all that's left over on that.
Little Christmas trees, little evergreens.
And there's no ashes flying everywhere like you would with cake.
Yeah.
Dang it, Iris.
And with any bake, we're doing around the bottom, outside edge only. None in the middle. We'll get us a hot spot in the center.
Just sit down. If you want me to pet, sit down. Thank you. Yes, I have to entertain the putt. And when baking, what's the ratio, Wade?
1/3 on the bottom, 2/3 on top. We're doing 30 pieces, so we put 10 on the bottom. We're going to let the oven preheat for a couple of minutes. We're going to come back over here, and actually we better get this charcoal. We're going to head. What do you think, Angel? We're going to put, what's your vote? Actually put the pie shell in?
Yeah, but I give that a minute to heat up a little bit.
We'll give it a couple of seconds to heat up, finish heating up, the preheat oven, and then we're going to put the pie shell in there, and then we'll pour the filling in and then put the lid back on and get the bacon.
Which is different than we normally would, but we have discovered that putting a full pie shell in the Dutch oven does what?
It's kind of hard to do. There's not much room to sneak it down in there, so it's kind of tricky. So we'll have Angel get in here and get a close-up when we get ready to do this. So it's kind of tough.
So are we coming back?
We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, our Dutch oven has been heating about 5 minutes. Now, get the lid out of the way.
Now let's just see. Oh yeah, it's warm in there.
Now, I'm not burning myself. I'll put this
right
in
that way
the
he
center.
can put it right where he likes it. We think this is the best way to do this.
And then we're going to pour in our batter.
Well, I think we're going to be pushing the rain, dear. I just felt a raindrop.
Might be.
See, he was doubting whether or not he'd have enough room for it all.
We've got quite a bit in that bowl, but that's all right. Get it all put in here, then I will level it out just a little bit more. Okay. Now, spread it out. This is thick. I want to make sure it gets out fairly even. I don't know how much it's going to level off as it bakes, so we want it to look fairly good when it gets done.
Now that, even raw, looks like a nice pie.
Okay, now, the lid back on. Okay, now this is going to take, it says, this recipe calls for about 45 minutes.
So you're going to have to replenish?
I think we're probably not, since we're preheated. The oven's preheated when we put the pie in there. So we're going to take a chance and hope that it's going to get done in that amount of time. Because usually after about 45 minutes, you'll start losing heat. Now also, we're going to do something a little different. With that air gap between the Dutch oven and the pie shell, there's that heat, even if you're not real even on the bottom, is going to distribute and spread in the bottom. So we're not going to worry about rotating the whole Dutch oven. We're only going to rotate the top. And with a 45-minute bake time roughly, we're only going to probably rotate it every 15 minutes. So that'll be two rotates in the whole cook time. So we're going to go ahead and just leave it alone, not lift the lid, because if we're looking, we're not cooking, and let it bake, and we'll see you here in just a little bit.
And that way, if you just turn the Dutch oven, the lid, you're not sloshing the stuff out
That's
either.
right, not moving anything out of the sloshing around inside.
All
Which
right.
you have to worry about with a thin pie.
So we'll see you when he rotates.
All right. Okay, I just took the wind guard down because there's a little bit of breeze.
And as you can tell, them briquettes have about done.
They're about done. It's been,
and I smell it.
it's been 45 minutes.
Oh, that looks done. Come out clean.
Seeing it come out clean. We should call it done then, right?
Yeah, we're probably gonna end this right here because as you can see, the flaming orb in the sky has disappeared.
And yep.
We'll show you a picture of what it looks like. We know it'll be good. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, which is a like. Share us on Facebook or Instagram. Give us a comment if you've got a different recipe for sweet potato pie. We'd try it just like we did last week with Patty's Pastelaia. We'll give you that link.
Yeah.
See here, like us, share us.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And subscribe, and we appreciate you watching.
Yep, and we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Bye. See you next week.